We are raising a generation that wants freedom without consequences. Everybody wants privilege. Nobody wants accountability. People want success without pressure, relationships without sacrifice, blessings without obedience. And anytime life challenges them, they instantly become the victim. That's why so many people stay stuck. Because entitlement convinces people that they're being oppressed, when really they're being unprepared. Have you ever met someone that blames everyone except themselves? They're looking for an excuse or trying to find somebody to blame what they didn't get right or what they don't want to do. Blame it on them for why they are not doing what they need to do. If you go on the internet, you will always find somebody that agree with your dysfunction, your lack of accountability, the excuses that you continue to make. You will always find somebody that will prop you up. You always find somebody that'll pat you on the back because they have the same issues that you have. So let's get together because we are not the problem to our issues. The world and society is. Instead of finding people that will hold you accountable for your bull, because a lot of it's bull. A lot of us are lazy. A lot of us don't want to do what we need to do. And some of us just want the privilege of having what we want to have when we want to have it without putting in any work. And if we're being honest, some of us are addicted to just making excuses. Just like you have an addict of drugs or you have an addict of different fetishes, people have become an addict of giving an excuse for every reason why they don't have what they don't have. You know that when you go on social media, on the internet, it puts a type of pressure on a person to be able to perform at a high level, and at a certain age group you should have all and at a certain age group you should have all everything in place, and you should be having a certain amount of material things at this point in your life. And if you don't have it, you are considered a loser. So you have people have started to make excuses on why they haven't hit those plateaus, why they haven't did this, or why they're not living like this. But the truth is that you should go at your own pace. Everybody is not going to get to the finish line at the same time. If we can go all the way back to grade school, if you was in grade school, everybody didn't get the same grade. If you didn't cheat on somebody's paper, everybody didn't write down the same answer sometimes to all of the questions. So if you end up getting a grade and you end up passing, what did it matter? As long as you passed and got to the next grade. But in society, it's not about passing. It's about what they are holding you to in order to pass. So if you not, it's not looking the way that society wants us to look, then it's not the right look. But that's society. You within yourself, if you start moving at your own pace, you don't have to worry about making excuses for other people because you're on your timeline and not theirs. And since you are not on people's timeline, people can start to hold you accountable. But nowadays, that word accountable, it's almost like cussing somebody out. It's almost like pushing somebody down. It's almost like a form of disrespect to people in order to make them be accountable for things that they do, things that they say, or the way that they're living. I think the reason that accountability is so offensive nowadays is because why do I have to take account when I look in your life and you're not doing this or you're not doing that? People are so quick to, if you call them out on something, they want to point out anything that's going wrong in your life. They want to point out, well, you're not doing this or you're not doing that. But to be honest with everyone, none of us are perfect, right? None of us are perfect. And they'll be like, well, how can you judge people? How can you judge? Judging and accountability is two different things. It's two different things, but the funny thing about it is when people go in front of a judge and they charge you with something and you have to go to jail, it's no question about that. But out here, when somebody want to hold you accountable to what you said that you was going to do, see, when the judge is judging you, you didn't go to the judge and say I was gonna do this. Well, some cases yes, but in most cases you don't go to the judge and tell the judge I'm going to do this, and then come back and you go to jail because you didn't do what you said you was gonna do. In some cases, yes. Well, I'm just talking about you just walking into the courtroom talking to a judge, but with people. When you are on this internet or you having conversation with different people and you said that you was gonna do certain things, then you get upset when they hold you accountable for what you said you was gonna do. Instead of you saying, you know what, you right. I do need to go back and adjust this. I do need to work on this. You get in your emotions and in your feelings and you feel like you're being attacked. And when you feel like you're attacked, you want to lash out at everybody else like they're wrong for holding you accountable off something that you said. That's why I think that accountability is so offensive, because when people don't do what they say they going to do, they don't want anybody to say anything to them. Some people don't want a solution. They want to make the excuse in order to protect their ego. And then when they're protecting their ego, they won't. If you ever play video games, some of my people out there playing video games, you got certain modes that you can play it on. Play it on easy, you can play it on medium, you can play it on hard. You can play those three modes. And when somebody is tapping into their ego, a lot of times people like playing on easy mode. They don't want to be challenged. They don't want to be held accountable. Let me keep it on easy mode and I can just cruise through. I can fake online like I'm doing what I'm doing, but I'm not really doing that. But don't you call me out on it, because I have to move to medium or hard mode, and that's not what I want to be on. Because if you if you are living on the easy mode, you have got comfortable being where you are. So you got comfortable covering up everything that you're not doing and getting on camera and showing people, or getting on posting and showing people how good that I'm doing. But in reality, you just comfortable being at the bottom and doing the things that you are doing. See, that takes me to a point too, and like that goes back to the Israelites when Moses guided them out of Egypt. It was only a 3 days journey to get to the land of milk and honey, but what happened was that they started complaining so much about everything that they dwelled in the wilderness. Till that old generation passed away and the new generation had to go over there and do it. And that right there, just that right there, is prevalent to now, is that some of the older people complain so much that I don't want my kids to go through what I had to go through. I don't want to do what my parents did to me. But yet, you raise a privileged child. Now this child thinks that you supposed to do everything for them. You supposed to guide them all the way down. Never supposed to have any trouble. Never supposed to have any issues. It's supposed to be all on you. But that's something that you did. And once you accept those hard truths in your life, man, you're gonna have to build some discipline. Most of us are so most of us are so used to getting what we want and doing what we want to do. We never want to stop what we want to do. We never want to not do what we want to do, because, man, why? I'm only going to live once. But how good are you going to live the way that you're going to live, and how long you'll be able to live that way if you're undisciplined? In the good book, it says, a fool and his money will soon part ways. If you're always spending your money on things that don't matter, you're going to end up being broke. If you're not responsible with paying your bills, or maybe you can't go to the concert. Maybe you can't travel out of town. Maybe you can't go out the country this time. Maybe you can't go on that trip with everybody. Maybe you don't need to treat yourself to a new car. Maybe you don't need that new phone. Maybe you don't need those things, right? Maybe you don't need those things. But we'd be like, yeah, I got to be on every trip. I got to catch every concert, man. I got to go overseas. I got to always go shopping. I always got to have the latest and greatest. Then you start to fall behind. But building discipline is like, listen, I ain't got to do everything. I ain't got to do everything, and I don't feel left out when I don't do it. And when I don't feel left out when I don't do it, I have time to reflect. When you think about, I'm just saying, you think about this for a second. You think about the owning up to your failures and different things that you didn't do right, and you go back and you say, you know what, I didn't do that right. I could have did that better. I could have did this better. You start to build trust within yourself. You start trusting your own self when you start to reflect over your life and start fixing things and building things. Because before other people can trust you, you're going to have to be able to trust yourself. So once you start trusting yourself, you got that faith in God, people will start trusting you as well. You'll start being trustworthy. And I'll leave you with this. Maybe life is not blocking your future. Maybe life is waiting for you to grow into it. I'm Stan the Man. This is Real Man Talk, where we don't hide from tough conversations, we walk through it. And if this hit you, hit the like button. And if you're new here, hit the subscribe button. Because each week we drop real talk, no filter. Until next time, peace.